Hey everyone, I'm Diego Viteri. Welcome to a new video, Viteri Boxing. Today I want to teach you the 4 steps so you can improve your shadow boxing. Shadow boxing can be a positive thing or it can also be a negative thing if you don't do it correctly. So make sure to follow these 4 steps in order to have your shadow boxing correctly. Let's begin. Shadow boxing is basically throwing punches to the air, imagining an opponent. So you're basically programming yourself. Every movement is getting programmed. It's like a computer. You're doing each movement 1,000 times and you're programming your mind to have these movements subconsciously. So it could be a positive thing or it could be a negative thing. If, of course, you do these movements correctly, it will transfer in a positive way into the ring. But if you do these movements incorrectly, you just keep doing incorrectly, not knowing what you're doing, this would also transfer to the ring, and of course it will be harmful for you. And also the advantages of shadow boxing is that it's a great exercise, it's a great cardio workout. It's also really easy to train anywhere. You can train in a parking lot, you can be shadow boxing in a parking lot using the lines of the parking lot to be moving to the sides. You can be boxing in the shower. So shadow boxing is basically really easy to train because you can do it anywhere, but the main thing is to follow these steps. So let's start with the first one. The first step you need to understand is that whenever you're going to start shadow boxing, you're not going to start throwing all of the punches. You have to make sure to start with a single technique. First, start with a single technique, like the jab, for example. You start with the jab, you make sure you step forward, you're landing on the tip of your toe, you're turning your hip, you are raising your shoulder, your thumb is down. The same thing with the cross. You make sure you're using only your cross, making sure every single detail is correctly. The same thing with the hook, your chin is down, you take your head out of the center line. The same thing with the other hook. The same thing with the uppercut, making sure the hip, your chin, your shoulder, your thumb, everything is perfectly. Before you combine with anything else, you have to make sure that each technique is done properly. A drill that you could work at home is moving in and out, doing some footwork. You stop and you throw your jab. You do the same thing with another punch. You move, you stop, you need to have base and you throw your cross. Do the same thing, you move, you throw your hook. You move a little bit more and you throw another hook. You move in and out, uppercut. In and out, another uppercut. This way you will make sure that you understand movement, that you need to stop, have a base, then throw the punch, then keep moving. So it's a good way to train a single technique. You train a single technique before going to step number 2. So let's go to step number 2. So for step number 2 in your shadow boxing, you're gonna do some combinations, but you need to understand that we have setup punches and finishers. You can't throw a combinations turning your hip in every punch because that will look like you're dancing. If I throw a 1, 2, 3 and I go 1, 2, and 3 and I move my hip in all of those movements, it will look like I'm dancing, it will look funny, and it takes too long to reach to land every punch. So you have to make sure that you have the setup punches. In this case, if it's the 1, 2, 3, I'm going to throw one punch with my jab only stepping, second punch only stepping because I want fast punches, and then the finisher is the last one. Second thing is you have to make sure that you always throw 2 or 3 punches maximum. You don't want to stay and do a lot of combinations because that will give your opponent opportunity for counter. You want to throw 2 or 3 punches and then you want to move. You don't want to allow your opponent to counter you. And once you know like a combination like the 1, 2, 3, moving forward, you have to make sure you move to every single direction. You go to the left, you go to the right, you go to the right, you go back. You're throwing every single direction. Step number 3, we're going to add some defense to our shadow boxing. In defense, we got 3 types of defense. We got those parries and blocks. Number 2, we got those lips. We got our torso movement. And 3, we got footwork. We can move out of the way using as defense. So after you do these combinations, we need to add some slips. You need to add some slips or to add some footwork. You can add a pivot here. You can go this way. You can go just skipping back, going in. So you move, basically moving and using some defense after your combination. To work on your shadow boxing, I would suggest you don't do it freely until you master like a single combination of everything. For example, we can do a 1, a 5, a 2, and then we can do moving backwards. We can do a 1, 5, 2, moving backwards. 1, 5, 2, moving backwards. 1, 5, 2, moving backwards. That way we're doing our combination and our defense. We can also work with slip. We go jab with slip to the side. We go 3, 2, roll. Jab, 3, 2, roll. Jab, 3, 2, roll. That way we're working a specific combination with defense, so you can have this transfer to the ring before you move freely, because if you move freely, maybe you got some mistakes and you're going to transfer that to the ring. So make sure you have single combinations working with some defense, so you can work one like a lot of times to make it automatic. Step number 4, you can start flowing with your shadow boxing. You don't need to start with a combination. You can start maybe doing some head movement or defense, then start with the combination, and then using footwork. Using footwork, then moving to the side. Thanks everyone for watching my video. Remember that you can take advantage of the shadow boxing because it's an easy way to train everywhere. You can train in the parking lot, in a basketball court, you can train in the shower, anywhere. But you have to make sure that the movements are properly done before you start to flow. Some people start to flow before they have the movements correctly, and that will transfer to the ring. So make sure to drill 1,000 times the fundamentals, then you go into combinations, add some defense, and finally you start to flow. I'll see you next week for the next class.